In this video, we are going to discuss about how to correctly create an ER diagram using the MySQL Workbench software for a given problem, and how to create relationship between tables in the final ER diagram. That means now our next mobile DB has been completed. The ER diagram part has been completed. Now we must need to create the relationship and forward engineer it to enter the values. So we will see the requirements and create the relationship. What is the relationship between supplier table and the good receive note table? So we must see the relationship between the supplier table and good receive note table. So a supplier can have only one good receive note, whereas a good receive note cannot be issued to many suppliers. One good receive note cannot be issued to many suppliers. The same good receive note, I mean. But a supplier can have many good receive note as he wish. That means if he supplied a Vivo phone, he can have a good receive note for Vivo phone. If he supplied a Samsung phone, he can separately have a receipt for Samsung phone. Whereas the good receive note, I can, if there is a supplier called Mohammed and if there is a different supplier called John, I can give the same one good receive note to the both of the suppliers. So here's a one-to-many relationship. The one side is supplier and the many side is good receive note. So I will create a non-identifying relationship between good receive note and supplier. So the first relationship has been created. We will move on to the next requirement. What is the database relationship between good receive note and the product table? Write it down in the ER diagram. Now we will see the relationship between the good receive note and product. Whereas a good receive note can contain many products, where a product cannot have many good receive notes. So there's this relationship is one-to-many relationship, where the product is the many side and the good receive note is one side. So we will create this relationship also. I have selected a non-identifying one-to-many relationship. So the many side is the product side and the one side is the good receive note side. Now the relationship has been created. Now we move on to the next requirement. What is the database relationship between product table and stock table? Write it down. So we will see the relationship between product table and stock table. Where is the stock table? Here the relationship between product table and stock table is here. In a stock there can be many products, while in a product cannot have many stocks. Now if you take iPhone 14, the same product with different prices, then it is calculated, or it is generally calculated as two stocks. If we cheated, that's another scenario, but generally, honestly, if we take it, it is considered as two stocks, a new stock and an old stock. So the product is many side and the stock is only one side. So we will create a non-identifying relationship between product and stock, and we will move on to the next requirement. What is the database relationship between product table and customer table? we will see the relationship between product table and customer table. Here the relationship between the product table and customer table is where the product, a customer only can have one product, whereas a product can be purchased only by one customer, and but a customer can have many products. Now this is a phone shop DB, no? So there is a unique serial code or EMI code for every phone. So there, that is unique. That can't be many, no? So a product can be purchased only by one customer, whereas customer can purchase many products. So it's a one to many relationship. I will select an non-identifying relationship. The product side is many and the customer side is one. So we will move on to the next requirement. What is the database relationship between product table and invoice table? Write it down in the ER diagram. So we will see the relationship between product table and invoice table. Product and invoice. Here the invoice table. For a product only one invoice can be issued, whereas in an invoice there can be many products. Now if we take a customer goes to the mobile shop and buys a Samsung phone and a Vivo phone, then in the invoice there are two products, whereas for the product there is only, for the both of the product there is only the one invoice. So it's a one to many relationship. I will click the non-identifying relationship. The product side is many and the invoice side is one. So here is a one to many relationship. We will move on to the next requirement. What is the database relationship between customer table and the invoice table? Write it down in the ER diagram. So here the customer table and the invoice table. A customer can have many invoice as he purchases products, but invoice only is given to one customer. Invoice is given only to a customer, so it's a one to many relationship between the invoice table is many. I'll create an unidentified relationship. The invoice table is many and the customer table is one. So I have created the relationship between invoice table and customer table. So that's for the requirement. We will forward engineer this ER diagram, because if we need to enter values we need to forward engineer. The database has been forwarded successfully. We will see. Refresh. Here next mobile DB. If we see the customer table, here customer ID, and if you see the good receive note table, invoice table, product table, stock table, supplier table, and the user table. So that's all for this video. Thank you. Have a nice day.